are more annoyed at people who have the opportunity
Yeah,
to
it's
do what
like,
they want but don't do it because they think they need to just make more money.
yeah,
Because that's where you're really slacking off. Like, that's just unfair.
yeah,
Because there's people who want to do stuff that they like. There's people who like desire to do things they want to do, but they don't
yeah,
have
they
enough
haven't got,
backing or enough behind them to actually go and do that. It's like we're privileged
Yeah.
enough to just like we can go and get like a small casual job,
yeah,
have worker rights, like you know what I mean. Like all
Yeah,
that
it's-
means
yeah,
that we
we're,
can
like,
go and do the
protected
things
and-
that we want. Literally
Yeah.
in this car, we're
Yeah.
all doing that. Like that's
Yeah.
just so lucky. And if you don't do that, it's like what like
Yeah.
what are you?
Well, that's why I think, like, when I'm like a radical political thing that I think would benefit. Like, I'm not an economic guy. I
Yeah.
don't know how it would work, but if we have, because like what you said, where it's like, what's stopping them from doing that job they want, taking that risk? It's like, well, I need to work just to survive,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just at that level, like surviving, and then like you die. It's like, oh, that sucks. But if we have like, because if you look at how like the welfare system is structured,
Mm-hmm.
if everyone had like, I know like universal basic income is quite like left of field,
Mhm.
it's quite like a socialist thing, but I mean, if it worked, I think, so you have like instead of get everyone going to Centrelink, you have a base level that everyone gets.
Mm-hmm.
So say it's like, I don't know, 25 grand a year,
Yes.
and like everyone gets it, and then it's like, if you want to take that risk, you have like something you can fall back on, and you're not like going into poverty,
Mm-hmm.
because so then you can like do something you really want to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, implementing it,
It's like people
Would be
just
I know
it's
exploit
such a-
it. That's the hard.
Yeah,
put
but I
no
think-
thought into
yeah.
it. But the idea of like it's such a different thing, money in terms of or anything, where it's like earned and where it's just given. Like
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
two different things. Like earning for me, like earning the money to buy my first car, versus just like driving someone else's car that's just like given to you.
Totally
Yeah.
different feel.
Totally
yeah,
different.
no, that's a good perspective.
And it's
on
like
it.
I don't know what that looks like in the grand scheme of things, but like the quick
Yeah, I think
thought
it'd
in
be
that,
an interesting
for sure.
like
Wonder how you can
And
experiment.
it's
do it,
just
'cause-
it's one of those things where it's like you can't try it without just doing
Mm.
it, like for
Yeah,
the whole
but-
thing.
Maybe I'm optimistic, but I'm like, I feel like the net, like anything you do, people are gonna like bludge and like
Yes.
And there'll always be negatives.
there'll
to
always
it.
be negatives. But I feel like after a while, people like you do it so it's like just enough to like get by. You're not like, oh, I like don't have to work.
Yes.
I feel like the net benefit would be good. Like it'd be
Yes.
net positive.
Yeah, as in like, yeah, it's
Could
just
be.
what does it mean for the? It could just create a whole new like
It's just
economic
like,
framework.
We'd advance so quick. Like imagine if everyone's like they're like, oh, I have this like idea for a business.
It'd be
I'm gonna
insane.
pursue it. But
What would we become? You just have no
Yeah.
idea. If everyone could like reach their potential,
yeah,
like what does
But
that
it'd be
even look
interesting
like?
to look
But
into
then it's
how to
also
fund it.
like there's that thought of how many people would actually pursue it, because there's so many people. Look at our age. Everyone our age
Yeah,
lives
they
the life
already
we live.
have the
We're all
like, base
capable.
allowance
We're all
anyway.
capable of pursuing our dreams, but so many of us aren't doing it. We're
So this
just
is a
taking the safe
microcosm
route.
of that,
So
like
Yeah.
what we live in.
Yeah,
so yeah, it's like would just because
Or do we just
give
become like the
people access,
Wall-E
would they
movie?
actually do it?
where
we're
it's
just like on a little scooter.
you know that movie,
No.
Wall-E? You've never seen
No, I
that?
remember it.
Yeah, it's like
the robot thing.
everyone's in space because we
Something.
can't live on Earth anymore. We're all
Yeah.
fat and just like on computers.
Who
Like,
knows?
Yeah,
like,
I mean it's a hopeful idea, but
yeah, it's how do you?
I
think
think
it's just-
something has to change.
I think eventually we could get to that point, but how do you get everyone in the right mindset to take that on? It's like it's almost like you
that's
need to
what I mean.
prep.
We're almost like
We need
it
to-
could be detrimental because
Yes.
they're already fucked. Like if they really wanted to make it like difference
Yes,
or like
But
change their job, they
can-
would already.
yes. It's like how do we convince everyone to be in the mindset of where you want it?
Yeah.
Like use your ideas to do better.
Mm.
And if everyone could just be in that mindset, then transition
Yeah.
to like
Yeah, and there's also like there's already people that don't have to be living paycheck to paycheck, but
Yes.
due to their lifestyle behaviors, live paycheck to paycheck.
So how
So
do
it's
we
like
change
you give
that?
them X amount of dollars, they're probably still going to partake in the same behaviors.
Mm,
Yeah, but then it's like we can afford those lifestyle,
yeah,
like going to the pub and stuff
yeah.
because we have the privilege.
Mm.
It's
But
it's
it's
so
really tough.
in depth.
I
And
think it
there's-
would just be it's always going to be the case. Some people go that way, some people go that way.
Yeah,
Like I don't think there's just going to be this one thing where it's
Mm.
like shit, everyone's
yeah.
living
Well, I
that
think
way.
yeah,
yeah,
maybe we're just-
education's like the foundation.
Yeah.
Mm.
like start like
Yeah.
educating people.
Yes.
That's like the only way you really change like anything.
Yeah.
And
Like,
we,
it's
also, we
education.
need the people doing the bare minimum. Like we need garbage truck drivers. We need these
Yeah.
people doing the
Yes.
mundane
not
jobs.
until you're at software and they're all automated.
Yeah, dude, that's you.
Nah.
Yeah, you're gonna get replaced.
No, I think that's a huge thing though. Like you joke about like, oh, they're gonna drive themselves, But if you think from like what, like 2000, like when did like self-serve checkouts come in?
Yeah, there's
like
no way. We're too
2014?
human. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's only like
Around then.
6 or 7 years ago,
Yeah.
Mm.
and we've probably like reduced our need for attendance by like 30. Well, you reckon
Yeah,
a
but
third
yeah,
or something?
yeah. Like
So
agreed.
that's in 5 years. So
but then also,
imagine-
okay, you're thinking that. Oh,
yeah.
I was gonna say my argument was gonna be okay. Well, what about like delivery? It's like people get like Woolworths delivery.
Yeah, true. So it's like we've balanced like the other side.
Mm.
Yeah. So
But
it's
yeah,
like
it'd be
it's almost like
interesting
now
to, like,
those
dive
people,
into
the
it.
labor that we've taken
Yeah.
away has now been replaced in delivery
Yeah.
driving. But then what happens when there's self-driving cars?
Yeah, true.
So then it's like
Because I saw a stat from the ABS, whereas like delivery drivers have gone up like 150%
yeah,
the last year.
But then will there be a gap between, because we're taking like very unskilled
Yeah,
labor jobs,
That's another.
and then
thing.
we're applying it to like quite technical jobs where if you're on the side of like designing the software for these cars, you need to have like a technical educated background.
but then also the software gets
So-
easy to use, so you can be dumber.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
like
maybe.
maybe it's just the idea of that like we just our needs just transform.
Mm.
yeah. Well, yeah. It's cool to think about. Like,
But I guess
how-
that's the whole
Definitely.
construct of capitalism as well. This just it kind of actually makes sense that like we just create new needs because we have
Yeah.
unlimited. Because that's the whole. It comes back to the basics of economics. Like we have unlimited wants,
Mm.
but like limited resources.
Yeah.
So we're just going to
we have
create.
to create more.
Yeah. So we're always going to need to create. So then we need people to create.
Yeah, it's really cool because it's like there's some stats like the 50% of the or not well like X% of jobs in the next 15 years haven't been invented yet,
Mm.
Yeah.
That's cool.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
Because that's all we do. Is like
Yeah.
all we do is just know that we have unlimited shit that we want and just but limited
And
resource.
we're on like it's almost like a log curve of like how quick we're advancing. It's like going like this, and we're like getting to the peak
Yeah.
where it's like gonna go up like really quick
Yes. Yeah.
as like stuff gets more and more
100%.
accessible. And
Mm.
And it's
like,
crazy. Like
education's like you can go on YouTube and learn to
it's
code.
fucked.
and-
Like think about podcasting. Like just like the fact that you can take into people's perspectives, and then also like just that alone is just nuts. And then also the perspectives of well-educated people
yeah,
on like not even just the shit that they talk about in terms of their field, but then
Mm.
also the way they live their life to be that person.
Mm.
Like that is just so valuable. It's
Yeah.
just insane. And just taking that forward.